Free Health at Home also hosts Wellness Wednesdays and Fitness Fridays. Next week, this Wednesday is Passover, so we will not be joining this Wednesday. But next week, we're hosting our expert briefing on freezing and fall prevention and Parkinson's disease. So if that is something that you're wanting to embrace and learn more about, next Wednesday on April 12th, we'll be having an expert briefing on that. And lastly, if you're new to Parkinson's or embracing a change in your journey with Parkinson's disease, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We have a comprehensive website that addresses everything related to Parkinson's at parkinson.org, or you can call our bilingual helpline at 1-800-4PD-INFO or email us at helpline at parkinson.org. It's been some time since we've welcomed our guest facilitator today, Nico. Just a tremendous honor to have you back in this space with us and helping us continue to grow our understanding of mindful awareness in our journey through Parkinson's. So Nico, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It was wonderful to be here with all of you. So a couple of things to start. One is that I am using a satellite internet, and we're having a nice April snowstorm here in the mountains of Southern Oregon where I live, which means sometimes the satellite has a little bit of trouble talking to my satellite dish through the snowstorm. So it might be a little glitchy. You might lose me for moments, but don't worry. I've never been kicked off completely, so I will always be back. Second thing, just a little bit about me. So I have a PhD in counseling psychology from the University of Wisconsin, where I did a lot of work on the research around meditation. Been fascinated by meditation and mindfulness for a long, long time. And I'm going to share a little bit about what I learned in my PhD today. Frame what we're going to do together, then we'll do a little bit of mindfulness on the breath, and then we'll open it up for questions. How does that sound to everybody? Great, good. Good to see you again. Yeah, thank you. So let me say a bit about what I think we're doing here. I think that there is a problem that a lot of us face. Some of us know it and some of us don't quite know it. And that problem, according to the scientific research, is called rumination. Right? Rumination is a big word for what the mind does when it's left to its own devices. It just kind of spins. Have you noticed this? That if you just kind of sit around, your mind just goes in circles, thinking about the same things again and again, like you're caught in a dream state. So in the scientific research, we would call that rumination. And there's quite a bit of research that shows that being caught in the cycle of rumination is really unpleasant. Usually, it's not a great place to be living. It's a huge contributor to stress. It's a source of anxiety. That stress can lead to depression. It's even associated, according to some research, with some of the symptoms of Parkinson's. The more stress that there is in the mind, the higher the motor difficulties that some people associate with Parkinson's. So our stress response is a really interesting part of us that has been built into our bodies over generations and generations, over thousands of years. And it's really fascinating because stress used to serve a very specific purpose. It was kind of like built for those run-ins with a saber-toothed tiger, right? Like in our ancestral environment, there were threats. And when there was a threat, it was immediate and obvious, and our whole body would go into a high stress response so that we could fight, or we could run, or we could freeze. And then when that threat passed, it was obvious that it had passed, and we moved back into non-stress. But these days we live in a culture where the stresses are less obvious and there's more of a sense of being caught in it. We live in our heads more than in our bodies. We live in our rumination more than we live in the moment. And so we go around and around. And so I think of mindfulness as a way to break that cycle of the mind going around and around and creating unnecessary stress. And so in mindfulness, we don't stop thoughts. That's a misconception that sometimes people have, that we're trying to stop our thinking mind. But actually with mindfulness, we kind of like heal our attention away from thoughts. And then we do it again, and we do it again. And we train ourselves to be fully here, just present or presencing. And in the scientific research, this pull from going away from thoughts and really coming here, arriving here, is called decentering, because we're decentering from the thought world. And I like to say we are recentering in the present moment. We're recentering in the body, because the body is always living in the present. So when we decenter from thoughts, when we recenter in this present moment, what the research tells us is that the stress response goes down. It's like the saber-toothed tiger walked away and you've still got all your limbs. It's just like, ah, okay. When the stress response goes down, anxiety goes down. When the stress response goes down, depression goes down. And even maybe certain physical symptoms could lessen when our stress responses goes down. So that's what I think of what we're doing here when we're doing mindfulness. We're decentering from rumination, from the thought world, and we're recentering into this present moment. And when we do that fully, our stress responses go down. And there are good things associated with that. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to use the breath to recenter. And now that I've said all this, you could kind of release your expectations. Just come in with an open mind and see what happens. You might feel better right away. It might go through periods of actually feeling kind of worse. And the practice is just to get extremely curious and interested in whatever is happening. Moment by moment, we're developing this sense of curiosity, like, huh, how is it now? How is it now? That's kind of it, just how is it now? So we'll do a little. I think we should do a little mindfulness. We'll do mindfulness of the breath today, which is one of the most classic mindfulness techniques. And we'll sit together for about 10 minutes. I'll guide you through this mindfulness of the breath. And then we'll have about 10 minutes for questions and answers and conversation. Okay, so you don't need a special, beautiful, perfect meditation posture. However you are is good. It's nice if the a little upright, just so you don't fall asleep and so you have a sense of awakeness in your body. And if you feel comfortable, you could close your eyes. If you don't want to close your eyes, just let your gaze soften. Just let your eyes become soft. And to start, it's nice sometimes just to take a few deeper breaths, really breathing deep into the lungs, into the belly, letting it out. Really feeling how that breath feels as you breathe deep into the lungs, as you release the breath out of the lungs. And then once you've taken a few of those deeper breaths, you might just allow the breath to find its own natural rhythm. And that natural rhythm will be different from day to day. That natural rhythm will be different from week to week, from moment to moment. Some days your breath might feel very comfortable and at ease. You might breathe deeply in your natural rhythm. Other days the breath might not be so deep and it might feel shallow or a little constricted. Either one is really okay. However the breath is, just allow the breath to be exactly as it is. And as you're finding your way into allowing the breath to be just as it is, see if you can bring a warm awareness, a kind attention to the breath, feeling the way the breath comes into the body, and feeling the way the breath moves out of the body. The breath comes in, and the breath goes out. And we'll just do this for a minute or two in silence, just really getting curious. How does the breath feel right now in the body? Bringing this warm awareness, this loving attention to the breath, just for a minute or two in silence. And you might notice that as you bring your awareness, your warm awareness to the breath, the mind will wander. The attention will get caught up in thinking, remembering, planning your grocery list. And that's perfectly natural. That's just what the mind does. Every time that you notice, oh, I've gotten lost. I've gotten lost in thinking or remembering or planning. Just notice that's what happened. And with renewed curiosity, bring a warm awareness, a loving attention right back to the breath and just feel, how is it? How is the breath feeling in your body right now? And again, we'll just spend a minute or two in silence, just really feeling, how is it? How does the breath feel in the body? And if you'd like, you could choose a specific point, a place that you can feel the breath specifically. So one point you might feel the breath is the nose. You might feel how the breath is coming into the nostrils and how it's moving out of the nostrils. And the second point that you might choose, if you like it better, is the belly. Feeling the way that the belly rises as the breath comes into the body and the way that the belly falls as the breath moves out. So pick a point, the nose or the belly, and just for a minute, see if you can really enter that world of feeling the breath as it moves into the nose, out of the nose, or as you feel the rise and the fall of the belly. Very nice. And let's just take a couple of deeper breaths again, breathing really as deep as you can into the lungs, taking a nice deep in breath into the lungs and letting it out. And a second deep breath into the lungs, letting it out again, maybe a third. Then you could open your eyes and look around, and as if you've never seen this place before, look with fresh eyes, like what colors are you seeing? What shapes are you seeing? What textures? Where are you? Looking at the world, looking at this room like you've never seen it before, with eyes of appreciation, almost wonder. And if you'd like, you could stretch. It's nice to stretch the body however you like, whatever feels good to you. So congratulations, that was a 10-minute meditation, no small achievement. And I'm very curious to hear in the chat, what did you notice? What did you notice? What happened for you? It's also really nice to see some people. I haven't seen all of you in over a year, but I'm seeing some of the same faces that I saw over a year ago. It's like a little reunion. And it's nice to see a few newer people too that I haven't seen before. So just typing into chat if you can. What did you notice? What happened for you in that 10 minutes of mindfulness of the breath? I noticed some tightness in my chest. Me too, actually. I thought, am I nervous? I might be a little nervous. A little tightness in the chest. And Joseph is saying very relaxed, feeling very relaxed. Also, Betty, very relaxed. That's nice. Feeling relaxed. Some days we feel relaxed when we're doing meditation practice. Other days we feel tight when we're doing meditation practice, sometimes distracted, sometimes less. So we're seeing less distracted than usual during mindfulness. So today was a less distracted day. That's kind of fun when those days come. The feeling of relaxation is great. It's peaceful. It was easy for my mind to wander, and it was easy for me to refocus on my breath. Great observation, right? The mind is a wandering machine, right? It just will wander and then you bring it back and you wander and you bring it back. And what happens as we practice mindfulness, because of course this is a practice, we get better and better at noticing that we've gone and coming back sooner, and it gets easier and easier to come back. So refocusing on the breath becomes easier. The mind was focused on breath and less mind wandering today. Great. My internal darkness gave me a green energy pattern repeated in a star shape to focus on. I love that. So some of us are more imagery based. So sometimes I say there's 3 kinds of people, which is of course not true. There's so many different kinds of people. But sometimes I say there's 3 kinds of people. There's body-based people, people who can really get into the body easily. There's verbal-based people, people who use language to get into meditation. They really like to follow the instructions, or they have a mantra. And then there's visual people, people who have imagery that comes up. So maybe a green energy pattern, and it's something that you can focus on. So if you have like an energy pattern come up and it's a visualization, sometimes you can put your attention on that, and that's just as good as the breath. Somebody wrote in, conscious of my heartbeat. Wonderful. A great meditation. A note from Mary, lots of mind wandering called back by the sound of your voice. Yep, that's what happens to me when I'm doing a guided meditation. I say, oh, right, meditating, good, coming back. I almost fell asleep and my eyes watered. Very nice, a sign of relaxation. So, and again, if you fall asleep, that's fine. Don't worry about falling asleep. As soon as you wake up, you can just meditate. Just like if you're really restless one day, don't worry if you're really restless. Sometime, at some point, that restlessness will pass and you'll come back to relaxation. And so there's all of these rhythms. They're like waves in the ocean, right? Sometimes you get sleepy, then you get restless, agitated. Sometimes you get very sad. Other times you feel lots of joy. It's like the full human experience comes out to play during meditation. Any questions that you had? Any questions that you had while we were meditating, or questions that are coming up now, or questions in general that have been around for a while about meditation? It could be about this meditation or about any meditation. When is the best time to meditate? I love this question. People ask this a lot. I think the best time to meditate is any time you can meditate. So again, different personalities are different. I am somebody who really likes a routine. How many of you are somebody who likes a routine? Raise your hand if you like a routine. You like a good routine. Yeah, you like a good routine, right? Other people are more fluid and spontaneous. How many of you are more spontaneous? You like to go with the flow. Right. Good, right? So there's different kinds of people. If you're somebody who really likes a good routine, then you just pick a time that's going to work for you. So for me, right when I wake up is a great time, right? Like I may wake up, make myself a cup of tea, and then I meditate before I have to do anything else with my day. That's the time that works best for me, and I keep it as my routine. I do it again and again that time of day. Other people, they find it best right before bed. They've wrapped everything up. They know it's all done. They're ready to go to sleep, and maybe they take 5 or they take 10 minutes and they meditate before they go to bed. Other people like to do it at lunchtime. So if you're a routine person, it doesn't matter when you do it, just pick a time and make sure it's part of your routine. If you're a fluid type person, again, then you're just going to go with the flow, right? You're going to go with the flow, but then the trick is to make sure that it gets done. The most important part of mindfulness practice is not how long you do it, but just that you do it every day. It's a little like lifting weights, right? Like you do little bit, and strengthen the muscles. You don't need to have to be like a professional bodybuilder, but in order to keep the body strong, you're going to do it a little bit every day. Okay. So why do I yawn and nod off? You yawn and nod off because the parasympathetic nervous system is kicking in. So a lot of us are a little bit on overdrive a lot of the time. That's called the sympathetic nervous system. That's the nervous system that gets us going. When we drop into meditation, the other kind of nervous system comes online. That's called the parasympathetic nervous system. And the natural response is the body will yawn. I'm not going to get through all these, but I'm going to try. All my breathing seems very shallow. What to do? Just a tense body, joints and more. Help. The thing to do is be very kind to that sense of the breath being shallow. So it is good to take a few deeper breaths in the beginning of the meditation. That's really helpful. You can do that. And then just be with the shallow breath. Just be with it. Don't try to change anything. Don't try to make anything happen. Just allow and bring this warm awareness to the body, to the joints, to the breath. And two things can happen. One thing which is really important, and this is going to be my last answer. I'm sorry, there's so many good questions, but we don't have time. Two things can happen. The first thing is that, of course, the body may stay a little bit tight, especially if we're having some symptoms associated with Parkinson's. But the first thing that can happen is that our reactivity to the discomfort can go down. And when the reactivity to the discomfort goes down, we can live at ease or more at ease with the difficult physical symptoms. So mindfulness helps the reactivity to the difficulty to get less. The second thing that happens is that we can relax around the difficulty, and sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes the body will then also relax a little bit. So there's so many wonderful questions here, and I feel I want to stay with you all day because I want to answer all these questions, but we're out of time. So we'll have to save them for next time. Please come back. Please come back and ask these same questions so that I have a chance to answer them and I can feel complete. Okay.
Thank you, Nico.
It's great to be with you all.
Yes, thank you so much. Nico will be returning. He's on the schedule for multiple times for the rest of the year, so we can look forward to his guidance in future sessions. So, Nico, thank you for joining us today, for your guidance. So much gratitude for you and your partner, Devin, and joining us on the mindfulness journey. Thanks,
Great to
everyone.
see you.
See you next time. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Good luck out there.